Hi, this is Chatterboxing. I'm Sean. I want to talk in this video about Daniel Dubois. We'll talk about the comments made by Frank Warren to do with him fighting Deontay Wilder, also the Joyce fight, a few other bits and pieces. Now, there's a lot of stuff to talk about. I want to get started with the most important part of it, in my opinion, which is that Daniel Dubois should, under no circumstances, be overlooking Joyce or underestimating Joyce. Because I know a lot of fans are writing him off. Pretty much everyone I've seen thinks that Dubois is just going to be too much for him, too quick for him, too powerful, etc. I'm picking Dubois to win the fight, but I'm not writing it off at all. I'm not writing Joyce off at all, and I think I certainly wouldn't be surprised if Joyce did win. It wouldn't be like a big upset to me. Dubois is quite untested. We've seen him fight Nathan Gorman, would be the best opponent that he's fought. Who's decent, but he's a prospect as well. So, not like he's really proven that much Dubois. He's obviously young. There's a lot of questions. We don't know how well he can take a punch. Seen him take some pretty decent punches, but not from anyone that we know is a big puncher. Obviously, Joyce has a very good amateur record. Silver medalist in the Olympics. A lot of people thought he won that fight. Other good achievements as an amateur, like was in that. I can't remember the name of it now. Was it World Boxing Super? No, I can't remember. You know what I'm talking about. As a professional, he's I'm not sure how many fights he's had exactly, but not many. But the ones that he has fought have been a pretty good level for having so few fights. He's fought people like Bryant Jennings, Bermain Stavern. He won a Commonwealth title. I think in his third fight or something. I think he fought Ian Lewison in his debut, which is quite an ambitious first opponent. So he's moving along very quickly, and he's looked impressive to me. Now people think that he's a bit slow. I mean, he definitely, his hands are slow, but he moves well. He's got good feet. He's pretty agile and deceptively athletic and deceptively good movement. I think people just sort of focus on the fact that he does look a bit slow and robotic with the hands. His defense isn't great, but he seems to be very tough and just able to, just his sheer size, strength and toughness, and his good feet as well, managed to kind of compensate for that. But yeah, I don't think Dubois will be writing him off. It's worth considering as well. It's worth thinking about that. It was Frank Warren who made these comments that he'd be willing to fight Wilder next, stick him in with him. It's obviously Frank Warren's job to hype up his fighters, to get their name out there, get people talking about them, and he's definitely done that. So he's done his job there. There's not a lot going on at the moment, and people are talking about Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois has come out and said that he agrees with the comments. Fair enough. I don't expect him to not. He's undefeated. He's young. He's hungry, ambitious, and he does have to me, it seems like a natural confidence about him. He obviously thinks that he can. I mean, he's sparred people like Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, and he's obviously held his own. So, I mean, if the rumours are true, more than held his own with Joshua. So he's he's definitely full of confidence, and I don't expect him to sort of play himself down. So yeah, so when someone asked him about that, he thinks he can beat Wilder, said he's got too many tools for him. That's good. That's the attitude I want to hear. However, I mean, I would personally prefer, if he did beat Joyce, which obviously is no foregone conclusion, I would prefer to see him take a bit more time. There's no need for him to rush into a fight with Deontay Wilder. Now, Deontay Wilder at the moment is looking very vulnerable. His image really at an all-time low. There's a lot of reasons for that. I mean, firstly, obviously the last defeat to Fury, very, very conclusive. The manner in which he lost was very embarrassing. He took a real beating. The manner in which he sort of took the loss as well adds to him looking a bit weak as well, making all his excuses. To be honest, the behaviour of a lot of his hardcore fans, just their real sort of girly behaviour and the way they've reacted to it, that contributes to it as well, in my opinion, just making him look a bit weak. You've got him saying that he's making his video saying he's a king and he's here. Then we don't hear anything from him. and we got these people making like videos, like talking about gloves and stuff. And he's not addressing it. He's not coming out and saying, "Look, come on, this is embarrassing." It looks like he's hiding behind them. That's what it looks like to me. So that basically contributes to his image, where people just think he looks very weak. He looks like he's there for the taking. So I think people might be getting a bit carried away with that, in terms of if he's still a force in boxing. Now, if he fights Fury again, I expect him to lose, in which case he would have then lost 2 in a row. So that's obviously worth considering. But at the same time, that would have been to Tyson Fury. And Tyson Fury, that's one fighter. We don't really know with Deontay Wilder how good or how bad he is, to be honest, at that level. We know he's a good level because he's won all his other fights. In my opinion, apart from I rate Luis Ortiz as a fighter, the rest of them is a couple of, you got Bermain Stavern, Brazil, like a couple of decent fighters. So we know he's a good fighter. He's not like as bad as people are making out. The problem is that obviously a lot of his fans and himself were like hyping him up as if he was like some all-time great, like elite fighter, which obviously he isn't. So for me to really judge how good he is, I'd like to see him fight people like Ruiz, Joshua, and Dylan White. Those would be the 3 fights I'd like to see him in. Then we'd have a better idea really of where we can place him. Because at the moment he's just, I mean, you can write off really the first like 30 fights that he's had because they were just complete knockover jobs. But like he still has been, he's been a champion for quite a long time, and he's beaten a few contenders along the way. So he's definitely like up the top of the division. The fact that Fury beat him like that doesn't mean that he's now, like just some American level heavyweight. Does that mean that he can't lose? That Dubois can't beat him? No, I mean Dubois could beat him. I mean Dubois, we don't know like how good Dubois is. If he beats Joyce in impressive fashion, then I mean, for like Joyce right now would be. I mean, you could make an argument with him or Ortiz, apart from like Ortiz, and you could like debate that. He would be better, in my opinion, than anyone else that Wilder has fought. So if Daniel Dubois goes in and does a job on Joyce, you definitely look at him like that is an impressive win. And potentially with the style he has, aggressive, big, strong, like solid, powerful, coming forward, that potentially could be a nightmare for Deontay Wilder. And to be honest, why would Deontay Wilder want to take that fight? I mean, he'd have nothing to gain from it. He'd have everything to lose. If he did beat Dubois, everyone would say, "Oh well, he hasn't beaten anyone," because Joyce was kind of a bit of a novice as well, professionally. He was young, inexperienced, so he wouldn't really get much out of it. And then if he did lose, he'd get bashed up, like he'd get knocked out, embarrassed, and they'd say, "Oh, he lost to someone who's a novice," basically. So he's not going to take the fight anyway. So it's it's just one of those things that promoters say. But the problem is, if let's imagine, hypothetically, if he did take the fight, the problem would be, even if he did beat Deontay Wilder, then he's in that position of where does he go from there? Because he's young, he's got a lot of good fighters around the top of the division. I would prefer to see Dubois spend a bit more time, work on his craft a little bit, really master his skills, fight against different styles. Ideally, see if he can get like fights in different countries, different kind of experiences. Fight against some people who can punch hard, fight against people who move well, fight against some southpaws. Get a wide range of experience. There's no need to get to that level straight away. Now, if an opportunity presented itself like it did for Joshua, where he was offered a chance to fight for a world title, I suppose you can't really turn that down, can you? But in terms of fighting someone like Wilder, who, I mean, again, even from like, they probably try and downplay that because they just say, "Oh, well, he's coming off 2 defeats in a row." They say, "Oh, he's past his best. He was a hype job. He doesn't have a world title." And, say what you like about Wilder, he's still a dangerous fighter for anyone, isn't he? Especially for someone who doesn't have Fury level defense. So, I don't really see it as a realistic option. I don't know what is going to go on with Deontay Wilder anyway. Now I'm hoping that the third Fury fight doesn't happen. That there's no need for it. I prefer him to. I mean, if he gets the opportunity, he'll take it. But from a fan's perspective, I don't want to see it. I'd like to see him fight against the three that I mentioned: Ruiz, Joshua, and Dylan White. Any of those three would be good with me. So yeah, Daniel Dubois, in summary, needs to focus on Joyce, but not just focus on Joyce, but understand that Joyce is a very live opponent, and that's what he should be thinking about right now. Yeah, so let me know what you lot think, and thank you very much for watching.